My name is Marcell Hanson, and you're listening to Small Habits, Big Changes. Let's dive in. Welcome to this week's episode. If you've ever felt stuck or you currently feel stuck, you'll want to stick around. I'm going to share with you what I have seen and what I have experienced over the last 30 plus years, a surefire way to get you moving, to start to gain traction and get you going in the right direction. As with many other episodes, this episode in particular is definitely reignited and inspired from athletics. We're heavy into sporting season right now. NHL is going into the final playoffs. The NCAA March Madness is behind us, but now the new season of basketball has begun. I believe spring training is letting out, and now baseball is going on as well. So we're in the throes of it. And as always, there's always tennis and golf, all of which I try to at least get the highlight reel of and choose not to sit and watch games on the regular. But I do love quick games and the highlight reels so I can see what's going on. But traditionally speaking, if you're watching almost any game, whether it be football, basketball, I'm trying to think if it's any individual. Certainly you see it in tennis, probably in golf as well. I'm thinking of 1-2 players in particular that I have seen get going on what we call runs. So oftentimes basketball is referred to as a game of runs. And what they're referring to with that terminology is momentum. It doesn't have a lot to do with luck. It has a lot of hard work involved. Some element of luck may be involved in a part of it, but the majority of it is good play, good action, and skill displaying in repetition, building momentum, gaining traction, and moving the advantage to your side or the player's side. And if you've ever watched a game of basketball, I think basketball displays this more so than a lot of other sports. It's very simple to see that one very small action, whether it's on defense or offense, can lead to a trickle effect and momentum on the other end. A steal, for example. If a player steals a ball at their opponent's end of the court and jams down to their end, making a basket, in and of itself, it's creating momentum. It also, the majority of their teammates are already back on defense for the next play, creating a run. So they're ready on defense. The other team has just, got a turnover. So they may have to have that in their mindset, stay focused. Oftentimes they go down, they might miss a shot as a result. The other team comes back down to their side, sets up an offense and runs, maybe a 2-3 pointer there, and they're up 5-0. It happens so quickly in basketball because basketball is a quick sport, a lot of up and back. Certainly happens in football. You see an interception and a run back, right? All of a sudden the momentum swings from somebody who was maybe throwing, on the money, and there was one miss, intercepted, runs the other way for a touchdown or down to the other end for a field goal. And all of a sudden that momentum shifts. It happens in football for sure. It's a little bit slower because of the length of the field, to be honest, and the specifics of the game. But basketball, you can see it for sure. And if you're not a basketball fan, think of it in just your everyday life because it certainly translates. We've all seen like a funny video, but I bet we've all experienced it to some degree as well, where the video I'm thinking of is a woman's trying on her new boots and she lifts up her leg on the cupboard door in the bathroom to show off her boots. And she ends up like getting her boot caught on the bathroom cupboard door. And then she falls over and it's just like an ass over tea kettle, like kind of moment. I'm sure we've all experienced that where we go to bobble something and we catch it and we're like, or there's the days where we go to bobble it and we drop it. We bend over to get it. And as we step up, we knock something else off the counter. And then we go to clean that up and we end up stepping in the first spill. And we're like, momentum can work the other way as well. And I think some people experience that getting into a rut or not being able to gain traction in the right direction more often than not. What that comes from, in all honesty, oftentimes a lack of awareness, honest to goodness, lack of sleep. The coordinate now, some people just aren't coordinated, and I get that, but the lack of coordination that someone who normally doesn't experience that is starting to experience comes from our REM sleep and the ability for our body to regenerate and to restore what's happened. Also, our deep sleep and our REM sleep, super important, helps to make recent memories more solidified. And I think if you can understand the dramatic fashion in which sleep deprivation shows up, you could be more empathetic towards others and yourself, because oftentimes it comes from a chronic situation where they're really struggling, and it's the momentum. They might have something due at work. They might have something due in school. They might have young children in the family, in the house. And so their bedtime is pushed later because they're attending to those children. And then it's pushed later because they also need to do the dishes or laundry or clean the house. And that's the only time they can get it done, when those children are not in their hair. So their bedtime keeps getting pushed. That's kind of the inertia, the momentum in an unhealthy way of getting you to bed late. And then the truth is, it doesn't matter as much how well you sleep. If you're going to bed at midnight, you cannot sleep as well consistently going to bed that late as you would if you were going to bed in the 9 o'clock hour. It's just how our body works in the northern hemisphere here, where our circadian rhythm works with sunlight outside and with some darkness. With good habits, you will get your most ideal sleep between that 10 and 2 a.m., that 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. mark. So if you're not going to bed till midnight, you have lost half of what you could be getting in terms of rejuvenation, in restoration, in hormone balance. So you want, again, this is a pure plug towards a free protocol that guides you to overall wellness and healthy habits. But my stable table, the last leg, is quality sleep. And you need to employ this in order to stay on top of it, in order to feel great, restore the energy lost the day before and potentially from previous days if you haven't caught up, also to make new memories and brain function. And to do that consistently will create momentum. So you can go day after day with great sleep. You might miss a whole night of sleep, like maybe you have to go to the airport or something. You'll be able to do that in stride because you've built up kind of momentum and a reservoir of healthy sleep. The inverse is the same. If you go night after night and start to add onto your sleep debt, maybe 7 minutes here, 25 minutes there, a half hour there, 3 hours for the airport, you're going to get beat down. That adds up over time, and it does not erase itself. It only is equalized or brought anywhere near a place of balance when healthy sleep is restored. So we're talking about momentum, and a lot of momentum is just being present in the moment, being aware, looking for opportunities, taking advantage of opportunities when something is offered to you. In order to be in the right place at the right time, you have to be at the right place. And in order to be at the right place at the right time, you need to be at the right place at the right time. So a lot of us, when sleep deprived, you are showing up at the right place at the wrong time. Does that make sense? So you're missing opportunities of synchronicity within the universe, and your own manifestation aside, you're missing opportunities that would align for you because you're late to the party. On a worse state, you might be showing up at the right time, but you're in the wrong place. So your awareness is not where it needs to be. And even worse, you're showing up late to the wrong place. Now, luckily for us, there are many right places and there are many right times. It takes a lot to really throw someone's own path off, but the first thing that will do it is lack of sleep. Your healthy vision requires healthy sleep, healthy skin and bones, healthy reproductive, healthy digestion, healthy thoughts, and emotional and mental stability. They require quality sleep. It is the last, and save the best for last, most important pillar of physical wellness, but it also lends itself to every other kind of wellness: emotional, psychological, even financial. You will do better and create more abundance when you have slept well. And for those of you who all think that you party through the night or stay up late because you're a night owl, not true, but do your own thing. If you feel perfectly successful in all of the areas of your life, you're staying hydrated or not, you're moving your body or not, you're eating well or not, and you're staying up late, and you like your life, you're happy with what you're producing and the contribution that you're giving, then keep doing you. There are plenty of people out there. But if you want to optimize, you want to feel better, you want to feel more confident, you want to be more productive and attract abundance and align your life to where you're waking up with abundance of energy and you have that throughout the day without slumps. So quality sleep is the place to start. We've talked about nighttime routines and how we can prep our room and ourself for good sleep. But no, there is no end to this. It changes each and every day. It changes from season to season. You may go to bed a little bit earlier and sleep a little bit less in the summertime. You may go to bed a little bit later and sleep a little bit more in the wintertime. It is very individual. You cannot say that 8 hours, like I go to bed at 10 and get up at 6. That's not 8 hours of sleep. It's 8 hours of being in bed. And the only way you can truly calculate that is by taking a test, having an assessment tool, a biometric that you may wear, whether that's an 8 sleep or a Whoop or an Aura ring, or you're actually going to have an assessment done in to wear a sleep band. You won't know what your sleep cycle actually looks like until then. And this is a new part of public science that now people have access to wearables, and you can see that 8 hours in bed does not equate 8 hours of sleep. And that's important to know just for you as an individual, because 8 hours of sleep is not, it's a very rough estimate, 6 to 8 hours. It really depends on your level of activity, your level of stress, your overall health and well-being. Are you eating well? Are you staying hydrated? These things impact your sleep as well. Do you have stresses at work or with your family or relationships? These definitely affect your sleep as well. Your environment, is your room too hot, too cold? Is it stuffy? Do you have a window open? Do you have a fan on? Do you have an electrical device in your bedroom? Are you sleeping with pets or children or a partner that might snore? These all affect your sleep. And there's ways to combat and work with each and every individual case. If you have any questions about how you can improve your sleep, you can either leave a comment below, you can go on to mystablетable.com and send an inquiry, or on the outro, we have a free texting community. You're welcome to text that, and that comes directly to me. It does not go to the entire community. It just comes to me, and I'm happy to work with you one-on-one. As always, these recommendations are very general. Getting quality sleep, eating nutritious meals, moving your body hourly, or staying hydrated, they all have their own individual formula. So anyone online telling you exactly what you should do without knowing you, without having a DNA test on you, without having run any testing or seen you in person, checking out certain pulses, tongue, dock in the bowl. For those of you who've seen previous episodes, if you have someone saying you should do this, I caution you to just apply a sense of your own knowing or unknowing and your own sense of curiosity about yourself to find out what works for you. I was on a journey of trial and error for a good 25, 27 years before gut tests were available to the masses, before particular blood tests and biomarkers were available, before wearables were available. Before a lot of this, I was tracking and trying to discover what works for me for 2.5 decades. Now, having wearables can really be helpful, and I understand that they're not for everyone. If you do want to try a Whoop, I can send you a referral link. You can get your first month free and give it a go. It's not what I'm here to do because everybody has their own journey. And if you don't want to have a wearable, there are other options as well. But knowing what's going on is a prerequisite for taking, massive action. If you don't know for sure that you are, deficient or lacking in B12 vitamins, you don't want to be taking an excess of B12 vitamins. If you don't know how your body methylates or does not methylate, and that is converting raw ingredients into usable ingredients within your body, if you don't know these things, that old adage of vitamins and supplements making for just expensive urine is applied, because it's very difficult. It really did take me 20 plus years to figure out a lot of things that I would have been able to discover in one simple test that I took a few years back. But I did manage to figure out most of them. But that's like, I was very adamant about my wellness, and I was very adamant about staying on top of my wellness, about discovering and researching certain vitamins and supplements and methods away from supplements as well. It takes a long time to do that, a long time. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of tracking. It's a lot of managing, which, honest to goodness, that's what really brought about the consistent use of the protocol of my stable table, is that I could not manage the other things I was doing without managing these, because they're so influential. So I highly encourage you to do some research on what could work for you. I certainly have a number of assessments that, if you're interested in, I could share with you. Shoot me a text. That number's 206-483-2960. You can text me directly there. Text the word yes and sign up for the platform. It is free of charge. Altruistically, I want to be of service to you. I've took a long route to get to where I'm at, and with current wearables, I've shrunk that learning curve considerably, yet the learning is not over. Every day is a new day to learn more about yourself, how you show up in certain situations and state management. And just because you know you need to go to bed at a certain time and you do go to bed doesn't mean you fall immediately to sleep. 10, 15 minutes, if you're not asleep, something's going on. That impacts your overall sleep performance. So you're never perfect at it, but not doing any of it, it won't happen on its own. And building momentum around sleep habits does create a bit of inertia, as I said. And so it will help support, like any healthy habit building, it supports itself and builds its own wheels. It gets its own traction with consistency. So give it a try. Think about the things that you do that set you up for success, whether it be the night before a day or that morning or before a meeting. Think of the things you do, whether it's being still, whether it's jumping up and down, whether it's breath work, whether it's closing your eyes, whether it's thinking of a certain object or color, an anchor from a previous experience that really recenters you. Try and do that as often as possible, not just before the meeting, before you get out of bed in the morning, just before you have your meal. A moment of peace, quiet, silence, any word that resonates with you, any action that resonates with you, whether it's a clasping of the hands and closing of the eyes, whether it's a dropping of the head, whether it's the raising of the head. Everyone is going to be different, and whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. You don't have to share it with anybody else. You don't have to tell anybody else you're doing it. This is for you and just for you. So do all that you can to stay centered and to stay in that right space, and opportunities will open and unfold for you. You'll be showing up at the right time, in the right place, and momentum, not just from day to day, but in life, will be created, and you will be able to experience more of that flow state. I wish that for you all. Thank you so much for sharing your time and lending an ear. If you found any of what I've said today's episode of value or interest, or you're curious about, someone else who may also feel the same, please feel free to share it. You can comment below if you're on YouTube. Otherwise, you can send a text or you can fill out an inquiry at mystablетable.com. And until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and be awesome. Thank you so much for listening today. If you feel any part of this episode resonated with you, then please consider sharing it with a friend who may also find value in it. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And before you go, did you know we have a fantastic free text community? If you want more bite-sized health hacks and reminders delivered directly to your phone, absolutely free, then text keyword YES to 206-483-2960. Again, that's keyword YES to 206-483-2960. And we'll see you on the inside.